Why I moved to Colombia and never left. What's up, peeps? Logan Trudell here. On December 31st, 2019, I quit my job as a registered nurse, booked a one-way ticket to Colombia, and I've never gone back. For many people, this sounds absolutely nuts.
Cannot go to Colombia. It's a very dangerous place. I watched all episodes of Narcos on Netflix, and there's a lot of cocaine, a lot of killing, a lot of murders. You can't go there, okay? You need to stay here. You're not going to Colombia.
But this kind of advice is coming from people who have never truly experienced this country for themselves. They are only giving you a perspective based on things they've heard, things they've read, or things they've seen in the movies. So in this video, I'm going to give you the 6 reasons why I decided to take the leap of faith and completely move my entire life to Colombia, where I still am today. Let's dive in. Number 1, culture. The first time I visited Colombia, I was absolutely shocked at the cultural differences in comparison to the United States. Although the United States is very patriotic, we have the right to bear arms. Nobody is going to be able to stand against me and my liberties. Very patriotic country. I think Colombia beats it in many ways because the citizens love their country so much. Of course, we have many people in the States who love America, but there is a lot of division. And of course, there's division in politics here as well. But if there's one thing that I think most people can agree upon in Colombia is that the majority of the population loves their country. They love everything and anything about it. And of course, there's a lot of things that any country can complain about, but I haven't been to a country with so much patriotism and not in the same form as America. This kind of patriotism is just a fascination and a gratitude for the country. For example, a lot of the people that work here are working jobs that most people in the States would never ever want to work. They're taxi drivers, bus drivers. You get into a taxi with some of these people and they're just the happiest people ever. They're making little to nothing, especially when you compare it to a first world country, and they're gracious, happy, they want to have a good conversation with you. And it's a pretty amazing energy to be surrounded by. On top of this, with any Latin culture, you have the Spanish, you have the dancing, you have a very strong family bond. One reason that I was drawn to this place was I saw the difference in values in the culture. In the States, everyone just puts their older family member into a home. And although that happens here as well, most people are going to take their old family member in with them and live with them. Many people and Colombian citizens who are young, they still live with their family. It's not something that I would want to do, but it just shows something different about the culture, about how they are very strong, tight communities, and it starts with the family. On top of this, there's still a lot of indigenous culture throughout the country. I have always had a fascination with Native American culture. I think what has happened in the United States has been a complete abomination with the whole entire culture and what the United States stands for, just completely destroying people who care about Mother Earth. The indigenous cultures are extremely important to protect because they have traditions and ways of living that are aligned with Mother Earth and protecting the environment. If we continue to destroy these cultures through greediness and capitalism, Earth is going to change drastically and not for the better. Number 2, nature. This country is the most beautiful country I've ever been in. The city I live in right now, Medellin, it's a city surrounded and covered in trees. It's almost like they just dropped the city into the forest. It's completely covered in green. It's extremely beautiful. Every day that I walk outside, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a forest. And there's a much stronger connection to nature when you're around it all the time. If you're living in a city in the States, for example, I lived in plenty of cities that were just They had nice views and aspects, but I never felt really connected to the nature because it wasn't just in my face all the time. Something about Colombia that I didn't find out until I started living here, it is the second most biodiverse country in the world. Brazil is number one, and Brazil is 7 times larger. The crazy thing about Colombia is it's got the most diverse species of birds and orchids. It's ranked second in the world for species of amphibians, freshwater fish, and plants and butterflies. So if you go out into the forest here or whatever area you're in, you're gonna be pretty shocked because there's just so much livelihood here. I'm looking out into my backyard right now and I'm just like, oh my God, this place is just alive. That's how I would describe it, is alive. And I think back to point one with the culture and the magical realism. An author like that, living in a country like this, it would be easier, I would think, to be able to create something like magical realism when you're in a country like this, because you got just so much stuff going on. I mean, I've seen iguanas in my backyard, barranqueros, these beautiful birds, in a city. Not very common. On top of this, Colombia has the Amazon, it has the Andes Mountains, where you can find snow, and it's got the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans. So if you want to go to the snow, you can find it. If you want to go to the Amazon, you can find it. If you want to go to the beach, you can find it. You can go anywhere in this country and find something absolutely spectacular and mesmerizing that you never thought you would see. Number 3, the weather. Now, bear in mind, this is regarding the city I live in, Medellin. But the weather here is, in my opinion, the best in the world. This is called the city of eternal spring because it's like spring year round. It's roughly 17 to 27 degrees Celsius year round here. For you Americans, that's about 62 to 80 degrees year round. It's amazing weather. With that being said, it does rain a lot. So there are tons of tropical storms and lots of thunder and lightning. It will rain for a couple hours and then it will clear. That's what I think keeps this city so green. But I used to live in California in Sonoma County, and that had some very amazing weather. But there are seasons in California. Here it's rain and sun. And even when it's rainy, it's still warm out. So you don't even really have to change anything. I own like 2 mild jackets, not anything heavy at all. So it's cheap on the wardrobe. And if you're interested in different types of weather, like I said before, you can find a desert here, you can find the beaches, the Amazon, you can find humidity if you really like that. I don't know anyone who does. But there's so much biodiversity here and different regions that you can explore to fit your needs. And if you'd like to know how I was able to escape the 9-to-5 grind and build a life on my terms abroad in a beautiful country with beautiful people, having a beautiful time, then go ahead and subscribe to this channel. We have some amazing content coming your way, lots of value coming. And if you want to, shoot me a message on Instagram at itsLoganTrudell. I love connecting with new people. Number 4, I would be out of integrity if I did not include this one, the women. The women here are extremely gorgeous, beautiful. That's one of the main reasons I came here originally. I have a joke with some friends. It's like, yeah, you come to Colombia for the women and then you realize there was so much more than that. But yeah, let's be honest. The women here are extremely sexy. I like Latin women, and there's a different kind of energy here with the women. Now don't crucify me and try and cancel me for talking about this, but there is a certain level of femininity with Latin women, especially in Colombia, that I was never able to really find in the US. Of course, there were some girls that I dated who had this, but for the most part, it's much easier to find here because it's a part of the culture. So what do I mean by this? Well, one, the politics in the US are much different than here. Now, the women here, some of them are educated on traveling and specific topics within the world. But in the US, you have a different political agenda than you do here. So a lot of the girls aren't supporting feminism. And I'm not saying that I don't support feminism. Feminism, by definition, is equal rights. What I am saying, however, is what I found when I was in the dating sphere in the US is a lot of the conversations I would have with women would end up becoming politicized in some way. They would want to know what my beliefs are on feminism and what my beliefs are on this and that topic and who I voted for president. When you come here, you're kind of removed from that. Although it does matter to some people here, for the most part, people care more about your values and who you are and what you bring to the table versus your political views and things that, in my opinion, don't really matter. And another thing to me is the women here are more nurturing. What do I mean by that? The women here, they take care of you. If you are a valuable man and you bring things to the table, they will take care of you. They will be affectionate. They actually know how to cook. And I know there are going to be some of you that watch this and you go, oh, Logan, you're sexist. That's not it at all. I cook for my girlfriend just as much as she cooks for me. But when I was dating in the US, there were a lot of girls that they couldn't even cook top ramen. And to me, that's just sad. And if you want to raise kids, food is very important. The kind of food you're going to put into your kids. You want food that you cooked or you know exactly where it came from. American culture, it's almost okay to just order all the time. Well, I want to be around somebody who knows how to cook, and we can have amazing meals. And if we do decide to have a family, then we will be able to cook and feed the kids based on what we want them putting into their body versus just being lazy and going to restaurants all the time. Number 5, the lifestyle here could be described as chill. Just chill. Like I said before, there are people who are working jobs that nobody would like, and they're the chillest people ever. They don't appear unhappy. They don't seem mad at the world. They aren't chasing every dollar they can in order to achieve this happiness, much like the capitalistic nature of America, where you can't be happy unless you make 6 figures and then you realize, oh, I gotta make more money. Here, they are content. They are okay with what they have. Although some of these people here may not have big dreams, they at least seem more present to me. They're spending more of their time going out, spending time with friends, spending time with family, enjoying themselves. The conversations I hear of them speaking in Spanish to their friends, it's just hilarious. The way that they show up in the world is just, it's nice, it's friendly. They will go out of their way to help you. And finally, number 6, cost of living. If you want to know a life hack, you can move to South America in specific regions or countries, and you will save a significant amount of money and you will be living a better life. When I first visited some friends here, I realized, holy shit, these guys are making less money than me. I was making 6 figures at the time as a nurse, and they're happier than me, and they're doing less and living more. I was working more and living less. So what's pretty cool about living in this country is the cost of living is significantly lower, which allows you to leverage your money more. If you have $10,000 of savings, you could stay here for 6 months, depending on who you are, versus a couple months in the States. For example, when I was living in Sonoma County, I was paying roughly $1,000 a month for an apartment with a roommate. Now, I live in an apartment for half that price, and it's right in the center of the city. Beautiful scenery, beautiful places to go to, and the transportation is really low as well. You can get a cab 30 minutes and it costs about $10. So all of these things you got to factor in if you want to live a life of location independence. You can live in a country that's much more fun, much more lively, has way more culture, and you could be living here for a fraction of the cost of what you're paying trying to keep up with the Joneses in America. There you have it, the 6 reasons I moved to Colombia. And if you like this video, go ahead and check out this video over here about why I quit my job as a nurse and moved to South America. Thanks for tuning in. More content coming your way. Click that like button, and I will talk to y'all later.